Here are the reasons why I'm bullish on Chainlink. Reason number one, I believe that its native token called Link still has room to grow. And of course, nothing I say is financial advice nor a guarantee, but reaching the price of $200 during this bull run, that right there wouldn't be surprising to me at all. Because if you take a look at it, for instance, right, if it were to go to that price, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around $125 billion. Now, that's around a 15x from here. And some people may be thinking, okay, first of all, that's actually a little bit too much. They think that, okay, it's unrealistic. But we've seen BNB reach over $100 billion in market cap. And come on, right? BNB, I just don't think it's all that dynamic. Also, on top of that, we've seen Ethereum reach over $550 billion in market cap. So this kind of like peanuts in the grand scheme of things, really, if I think about it. Now, this brings me to my second point, which is how a 15x really isn't that bad. Because the second reaction, people may think that, okay, this is actually not that much room to grow when it comes to Link. But I disagree, because personally, in my opinion, anything over 10x is actually fantastic. But even besides that, that's just my personal thought though. But again, right, if we take a look at other projects, like for instance, meme coins, could they do like a 100x, like a 50x or something like that? No doubt there's some out there that could do that. And I do talk a lot about my favorite meme coins. But here's the thing. I do use Link as my base because I believe that it's much safer for me. Personally speaking, like if I were to, let's say, bet on a random like meme coin that's like unknown to do like over, let's say, a 10x, it may do that. But then in the flip side, the probability of it doing that also could not be that high. You know what I mean, right? The way you take a look at Link is that because there's a lot of holders, when it comes to Chainlink, there's a lot of fans, there's a lot of, attention when it comes to it, and it's a very well-established project. I feel more confident that Link is hypothetically going to do, let's say, over a 10x during this bull run as opposed to a random unknown project. You know what I mean? Even though the market cap, let's say, may be very low. At least that's the way I view it. When it comes to Link, I'd much rather acquire it than something like Bitcoin because, for instance, right, when it comes to Bitcoin, people like to say that, yeah, it's a safe play, it's stable, all this type of stuff. But personally for me, instead of acquiring something like Bitcoin, which I understand is a lot more stable than a bunch of other altcoins out there, I would much rather choose something like Link instead when it comes to Bitcoin because it's not like that it's not really that stable anyways. You got to think about how, again, the community is fantastic. It's very reputable. It's actually a serious project. And again, at the same time, the room for potential upside seems a lot greater than Bitcoin. So why is it a bad pick for me? That's just the way I take a look at it, right? Again, it's pretty much kind of stable anyways. That's the way I view it. It's not like a dangerous unknown thing. But then at the same time, hypothetical upside feels a little bit better than Bitcoin. Why wouldn't I use this as my foundation when it comes to my portfolio? That's just my mentality. And of course, when it comes to Link, it's really a no-brainer pick for me. And now the second reason why I'm bullish on Chainlink is because I think the fundamentals are A+. And sometimes people don't understand this. So let me explain a little bit. Because you take a look at, for instance, right, when it comes to Chainlink, it's most known for its decentralized Oracle network. Now, some people may think that this is kind of caca because I think in some cases, they don't really understand what it's all about. But here's the thing. When it comes to an Oracle, in this case, it's basically a data feed that brings data from off the chain, aka off-chain data, and then it brings that data over into the blockchain. Now, some people may be wondering, like, okay, who cares about this? Like, who even uses this? Now, here's the thing. Many applications out there, they simply need this in order to operate. Without off-chain data, many of the decentralized applications that we could very well know might not be able to function properly. So again, if you think about it, this is very necessary. At least that's the way I view it. Hashtag super necessary, Jorge Masvidal. But yeah, even besides that point, we have to take this into consideration. Even despite having thousands upon thousands of applications right now, I think it's only fair to assume that more are going to pop up in the future because, again, right, as the blockchain technology space, gains adoption, as, attention for cryptocurrencies and adoption increases, it's only fair, again, to assume that there's going to be more, decentralized applications out there. And of course, again, what do they need for the most part? Off-chain data. So of course, naturally, they're going to need to choose a solution. Now, are they going to automatically choose Chainlink? Probably not. I mean, you never know, right? I mean, they might use something else. But in my opinion, Chainlink does have a very key role in all of this because if you think about it, there's not that many good competitors. I mean, of course, there's something like the Pith network, which I'm very bullish on. For instance, something like Flare, it has the Flare time series Oracle. But really kind of like beyond that, there isn't really that many dynamic projects that are focused on this like Oracle aspect, I would say. So if there really isn't that many good options to begin with, guess who's going to have a higher probability to be chosen? Something like Chainlink. Again, this is only a hypothetical scenario, but as of right now, Chainlink isn't doing bad whatsoever. So when it comes to this, it's only fair to assume that something like Chainlink, which I would argue is a market leader, could very well be the premier choice moving forward. And you got to also take these statistics into consideration. Like, for instance, we take a look at how there's currently over 1,800 projects using Chainlink, and Chainlink has also been able to enable over $10 trillion worth of transactions. So yeah, you got to imagine that. That's absolutely crazy if I really think about it. It's bigger than a lot of countries' GDP. Not to mention, we take a look at how currently global enterprises such as Google Cloud, and yes, you heard that right. Shout out to Google, by the way. This is how amazing this is. But even besides that, you also take a look at Swift, T-Systems, Amazon Web Services, Swisscom, and even Associated Press as well. They're all currently leveraging Chainlink, which I think is insane. So when people like to say that, yeah, Chainlink adoption is caca, well, no. I mean, this is how amazing it is. But even beyond that, we also have to take this into consideration. You know, Chainlink isn't some sort of one-trick pony, right? Because sometimes people, they get caught up in this decentralized Oracle network and they think that, yeah, it's the only thing that Chainlink does, really. But Chainlink actually has other services as well, so to speak. For instance, they have something called Keepers, which allows developers to automate certain smart contract tasks and functions that do involve off-chain data. So yeah, that's another tick for me. Even though it may seem kind of boring, you know, it's amazing, in my opinion. Not to mention, there's something called proof of reserve services. Now, this right here is actually very fantastic because if you've actually been in the crypto space, right, for quite a while now, I think you'll know what I'm talking about when it comes to, like, you know, FTX going down, and then also, like, you know, all the Celsius nonsense, all this type of stuff. And more specifically, right, when FTX went down, do you remember what happened? Like, when a lot of exchanges, they started kind of like, you know, feeling the FUD, so to speak, right? And then a lot of them came out with these, like, proof of funds, so to speak, to showcase that they're actually holding assets and not, like, you know, manipulating it or something crazy like that. When this happened, of course, what service do they need to use? For the most part, they will need to use proof of reserve services. So, of course, this is very beneficial to something like Chainlink in an event something like that is needed, because let's say a cryptocurrency exchange or a stablecoin issuer, they want to prove that they're holding a certain amount of funds, let's say, a certain amount of assets. They can use Chainlink's proof of reserve services. This is how amazing it is. So yeah, that's very fantastic in my opinion. Not to mention, when it comes to Chainlink, there's something called VRF, which stands for Verifiable Random Function. Now, this right here is actually used for random number generation. Now, you may be thinking, okay, why is this beneficial? Well, basically anything out there that needs like random number generation, this could be useful for that. Like, for instance, video games, you know, it could be useful for that as well. So yeah, anyway, you take a look at it, I think Chainlink is a very complete package. It's not caca by any means, and I think it's one of the best projects out there. So with fundamentals this amazing, why would I not be bullish on it? That's just my 2 cents. At least that's the way I view it. Now, of course, this would all mean kind of nothing if the bull run isn't going to be special. Hypothetically, I do believe it's going to be special because you take a look at how a high tide raises all ships, meaning that typically when the crypto space overall performs well, you know, when the sentiment is there in a positive way, of course, and also once Bitcoin reaches great heights, typically a lot of altcoins, they do go along with the ride, right? Typically when something good happens, usually those who surround it also end up becoming good as well, in some cases. So just imagine with the Bitcoin ETF, with the Ethereum ETF, with the number of institutional investors and enterprise adoption being through the roof, with over 500 million crypto owners, is this bull run going to be caca? No. I think Bitcoin could hypothetically go to the price of $150,000 during this bull run. And I think if it were to do that, it's only fair to assume that something like Link going to the price of $200 wouldn't be crazy whatsoever. And not to mention, right, am I saying that, hey, I'm going to go all in right now, I'm just going to dump everything I have? No, I mean, even though I hypothetically believe Link could go to the price of $200, you know, I'm not going to just dump all in currently. Why is that? It's because my strategy is very simple. It's dollar cost averaging. Because if I take a look at it, right, in the very short term, we never truly know, like, what direction things could go, right? Generally speaking, in the long term, things could move in a positive direction. But in the short to medium term, things could be very volatile. So what is a way for me to constantly accumulate, but at the same time, not get caught up in these movements? That's by dollar cost averaging. So that way, because anytime an income I'm acquiring, I'm holding, and I'm just waiting, if let's say the price does dip temporarily, let's say, right, I'm still going to be able to accumulate on the dip because I never went all in. But then let's say the price pumps, it's fine because I was holding the entire time anyways. I wasn't trying to guess, these small movements. I wasn't doing that, right? So that's why I love dollar cost averaging so much. Just anytime on income, I'm acquiring, holding, and just waiting. That's it. And I think around 6 months from right now, a year from right now, things could be so different. Literally for me, the way I view it is that it's just currently a waiting game. That's it. It's just like a game of patience. But hey, if someone has been through like 2021 up until right now, doesn't seem so bad, right? Waiting, let's say 6 months to a year. At least that's the way I view it. Again, I'm very bullish on Link, and I'm still acquiring Link. And again, at the price of $200, that right there wouldn't surprise me whatsoever during this bull run. And by the way, feel free to become a channel member if you want to. If you want to get a prioritized response from me in the comments, and also you can support the channel. Furthermore, make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I greatly appreciate it. It's Willie the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.